Hey guys, so we have seen how to run our application on iOS as well, and this is how it was looking on iOS. Now let's quickly come back to the Stack Navigator part. So we have already implemented the Stack Navigator, but we didn't discuss any theory. Let's do that discussion because it is needed in order to understand the upcoming concepts and to do the upcoming implementation. And the reason we didn't do the theoretical discussion initially because I wanted to give you guys a hands-on experience. So let's quickly do the theoretical discussion of what exactly a stack navigator is. So starting from our code, we have a function called as create stack navigator, which is coming from React navigation library, and it is giving us a reference. Now this reference we can store it as any name, but we have called it as app stack navigator. And once we have the reference, the first and the foremost thing which we are doing is we are defining the navigator. So it's not even like defining a navigator, it's rather initializing the navigator. So when you say whatever your stack navigator reference name is, which in our case is app stack navigator, when we say app stack navigator.navigator, we are just initializing the navigator, the stack navigator, and we have defined the initial route as home. This is something which is not necessary, but we have defined it as home because we want our home to be the first route or the first screen to be mounted whenever this stack navigator gets mounted, right, or created. And inside the navigator we have defined screens, and the way we define the screen is we say our stack navigator reference, which in our case is app stack navigator.screen, and then we specify the name of the screen, and then we specify the component associated to that screen. And in our case we have two different screens, one is anime detail screen and the other one is the home screen, right? So now let's see what happens under the hood. So for that we have a block diagram. Let's focus on the first block diagram. So this is how our stack navigator is looking. We have two routes or two screens, which is home and anime detail screen, and we have a something called as current route. So since we have mentioned that our initial route is home, so our current route will be home. And at any given point of time in a stack navigator, there will be a current route, which is nothing but the active route or the active screen which user is seeing. Now, apart from current route, we have something called as backstack, and this backstack is something which gives the name stack navigator. So what is a stack? Stack is a data structure which is similar to array, and we can do two very unique or special operations on stack, which is push and pop. So when we do a push operation, basically we can append an element to the stack on the topmost position, and when we do a pop operation, we can retrieve that element which is on the topmost position. So stack is something very similar to array, and it is a pretty well-known concept. So what happens is that whenever you are on any route and you navigate to some other route or some other screen, the previous route gets stored in the backstack. Let's quickly see that. So when you click on any of the, let me come back to the home. So now we are in the home component. In home component, we are telling that whenever the anime card is clicked, navigate to anime detail screen. Let's quickly see that. So when we go to anime detail screen, so this is the second scenario where user clicks on the anime card which is present in the home route, and the user goes to anime detail screen. In that scenario, what happens? The previous route, which was the home route, right, which was the current route in the previous scenario, gets stored in the backstack. And since it was stored in the backstack, so whenever you try to perform a back operation, you are able to come back to the home route. The reason you are able to come back to the home route because the previous route gets stored in the backstack, and hence the name stack navigator. All the previous route gets stored in the backstack, and when you try to perform a back operation, the top and the topmost element, which in this case will be home, will become the initial route, and the backstack again becomes empty. So now once you reach home, then there is no back operation because you can see our backstack became empty. So this is how a stack navigator works, and the reason why it's called a stack navigator, because there is something called a stack where we are storing all the previous routes, right? So we'll be discussing more on this in the upcoming video. Thank you.